What's up, people? This is my very first wine kit. I decided that since occasionally my wife and I drink wine, I'm not one of those beer snobs that can only drink beer. I decided to buy a wine kit. So this is a multi-part video. The first part is a little bit of an unboxing, just sort of a what to expect kind of video. The second part is the actual brew day. I kind of have issues with calling it a brew day only because I'm not heating up anything and it just feels weird, even though I think it's technically the proper terminology. So the sound on the second part isn't the greatest. I was using a mic, but it was in my other side of my basement, which doesn't have the greatest of noise profiles. I've got my air handler back there for my furnace, which the fan runs continuously, and that doesn't help. But it's there and it goes through it. Brewing wine is not a long process. I think I finished the whole thing in less than a half an hour. So it's nice, quick way to get something done. It'll take about 6 weeks. The kit says give it 2 weeks till till the end of primary fermentation, and then you rack it off all this, or you do some clarification first, and then you do some racking. There'll be another video that'll follow that up. So, without further ado, here it is. Andrew here, running on beer. I got a wine kit. Winexpert Reserve. Probably had to get that right. California Merlot, which is pretty much what we drink. So this is sort of like an unboxing of this, just to see what we have. So, first off, and the biggest thing in here is the juice. And it's hard to show, but it's in a big bag. So, they also sent a few other things. Oak chips, which you kind of need for wine. They sent some chitosan and kieselosol, which I believe are clarifiers. Sorbate, or sulfite. So sulfite/sorbate, 9.5 grams. Sulfites for antioxidants. Bentonite, which is a clarifier. And then they sent 2 yeast, EC 1118 and Borgovin RC 212. So this is going to be brewed here soon. I don't know exactly when, but I figured I'd start out with this part of the video because the next part might be like me on a different day possibly, actually making this kit. Alright, here I am making my very first wine. Let's see, first thing is bentonite. So bentonite is a clarifier that is used to make the wine clear. Because unlike with IPAs, hazy wine does not look at all good. So this is a sanitized fermenter. It has been washed, has been sanitized. This is kind of warm water. I hope it's warm enough. I'll pour a little bit in to get this bentonite off of there where it kind of got stuck. This might work without a phone. Alright. I'm going to get this switched around. Try and get as much of it dissolved as possible. According to the directions, I may not get it all dissolved. Alright, now the juice. Which is going to be fun because it is a very large bag of juice. They actually do kind of a little trick here, which is pretty cool. Thank God I saw this in somebody else's video. I'm not sure really a whole lot of what I get out of this. Get the funnel. I'm doing this in my sink because this is a Merlot. It's red wine. If you know anything about wine, red wine stains. I don't want a stain because it would probably sink into my carpet or my concrete and look like I murdered somebody. Interesting smell. It doesn't smell sweet. It's not like, my kid's grape juice kind of thing. Yeah, this whole, let's see what I can do here. See if I can do this without making a mess, or at least containing the mess. So this should be pretty well oxidized. It's interesting with wine. I started asking a friend about yeast selection and everything. This friend's made a few wines that he seems to really enjoy. I don't know if he's like a judge or anything. Probably just a good hobbyist. And he basically said, yeah, just sprinkle the wine, or just sprinkle the yeast on top, and you probably only need 1 pack, even though the company sent me 2. And one of them is a fairly standard yeast. I guess could almost say maybe it's like the Chico yeast of wine. EC 1118, I think it is, which I've used on a mead before. The mead was a little bit of a failure because I think it was a little too hot and too alcoholic. Yeah, you gotta watch trying to make that stuff on a budget. Frequently with the kits, they put the wine nutrient into the juice, which makes life easier. First time, so yeah, I kind of like that idea. So that's pretty much everything I'm going to get out of this for now. And there's the mess. Fortunately, it was a slight mess. Now, let's get some RO water here. I did taste this water before I did anything with it. This actually was the base of the water that I used for Bentonite. Oops. Now, this is going to be a little bit more difficult here. I think I can do this, but we want to rinse this bag out. All that juicy goodness out of there. I'm going to put a gallon of this water in here. This up for a moment. There we go. that aside, I am going to do something a little different from the instructions. The instructions said put 6 gallons in this. Near as I can figure, and this has been measured recently, that's 6 gallons. That's most certainly going to make a fucking mess. I do not want a mess. Even though I've been told that most of these are probably not going to be too bad. I'll make this easier on myself. Don't make a big mess. Messes with water are better than messes with grapefruit because at least water dries without staining. I do not want a full murder scene in my basement. I'm sure it would kill the resale value of my house if I decide to move. So I think I'm going to take it up about 5.5 gallons. This isn't beer, so I'm not really looking at efficiency or anything. I may change my mind once I see what the OG is. Alright. This does need to be sanitized. Best way I know how. If you're not using sanitizer in a spray bottle, I would have to ask, why the actual fuck not? This is going to be my way of stirring it until I go to a store later on and get a one of those degassing tools. That should go in there. Now, for obvious reasons, this is not going back in to the fermenter. I do not like infections. I don't think infected wine would taste very good. Spin. We'll use the refractometer too. This is still not calibrated. Our OG is about 22 Play-Doh, it looks like. Which would also be 1094. Hydrometer. Let's check this again. This. Okay, it does taste good. This is going to be difficult to show on something, but this is saying 24 Play-Doh or 11. Yeah, we'll probably just go 20. Oh, that looks better. Gotta get up to light. 24.2 Play-Doh. Of course, it's still uncalibrated. 4.2 Play-Doh. Fractometer. Take another quick look at it, see if it's stabilized. Holy shit! I misread my hydrometer or something, or it went up. Because yeah, it's at fucking bubbles. Closer to a 23 or an 18 ups. Doesn't matter. It's going up. Let's say about 23.5. The other scale. It's like 1098 or 9. And 1094 still. I just can't read. Alright. Now, real smart to leave that like that. Oat chips and yeast. So, oat chips and yeast. Govan RC212. Of course, it's going to go right on top of all these oat chips. Everything's going to have to be stirred up. For now, oil. Just about to kick on. All right. We shall have wine in a while. Now the fun part's gonna be getting this out of my thing into somewhere safe. Let's see. Fun part. Wonder if it's easier or smoother. That there. That way. This is why I like plastic fermenters. Alright. My back don't like them. But I'll be fine. Oh, shit. That's it. That is it. So I don't know what strength of wine I'll get. Kind of hoping for something 12 to 14%. Hopefully. Assuming the wine finishes perfectly, completely dry. 1094 down to 1. Quite a bit. Take a quick look at fierceness here to see. Tools. Come on. Piece of shit. $94. Be about maybe 12.6 if it finishes at 1. So we'll see. So this is part 1. If we look down to this, we're down to like here. I think it goes for, check, I think it goes for about a month, basically until final gravity. Oh, 2 weeks, and I have to stabilize the gas. So, yeah, I mean, yeast is weird with these things because it says keep the fermentation area warm 68 to 77 for the entire process. That to me is high. I'm not used to having wine or having anything ferment that high. So we should get an airlock on this and proper bone. Yes, this is clean. Still sanitizing it. Filling it with sanitizer. Do this. And there we are. We shall have wine someday. A couple months. I think this actually says a 6-week kit. I'm right in the specific gravity range for it, which is fine. It says day 14 specific gravity should be less than 996. So this should work. Cheers, y'all.